Are you following my point? A partnership, a marriage partnership is only defined by a partnership between man and woman. Everything else is academic here. There is no point discussing anything else. Allah says you can't have sex outside marriage. Marriage is between man and woman. What am I supposed to say now? Can I say anything else? I don't need to say anything else. Quran makes it very clear. I may have all sorts of inclinations in myself. But in Islam, you cannot, unfortunately, practice those inclinations unless you are in a marital space, and marriage is only between man and woman.
That's pretty clear.
Anybody unclear here?
Who raised the question? I hope it's clear, right?
The sister's hand went up.
Yes, I would like to ask a question.
Was it the same one as I've just asked? Or is it a different one? Just hold on to your question in a minute. Let's just get this clear. Is everybody clear on what I've just said? Muslims don't need to waste their time discussing it. You're either born a male or a female. That's what Islam says. We don't need to waste our time discussing this. People have reasons to discuss this. You go ahead. As a Muslim, remember, I subscribe to Islam. As a Muslim, I don't have any scope to discuss it beyond what Allah says. I'm a born male or a female. If in my birth there has been a confusion on my gender, let the doctors determine which is the dominant gender. And then they can do what we call intervention, medical intervention, a surgery, medicine, whatever needs to be, because there has been a confusion in gender at birth. But one day I wake up and I feel like a woman. Next day wake up and I feel like a man. That's not what Islam says. Islam says if a male or a female, there has been a confusion in gender, it can only be determined by a medical expert and determine as which of the gender is dominant and make the other gender redundant. And you can only follow that gender that is dominant inside you. You can't have both, and you can't wake up and do these things on feelings. Islam is very clear on these things. So LGBT discussion for Muslims, with respect to LGBT community, I'm not fighting with anyone. I'm just saying what Islam says. Islam says this, and I'm not going to change my faith. And Quran is not going to change. If Quran and Islam is not for you, it's okay. La ikraha fi Deen. There is no compulsion in religion. You don't have to be a Muslim. You don't have to be. وَهَدَيْنَاهُ السَّبِيلِ إِمَّا شَاكِرًا أَوْ إِمَّا كَفُورًا. You may accept it, Allah has shown you the path, or you may reject it. It's up to you. The path is clear. Sex outside marriage is haram. Marriage is between man and woman. Gender is determined by Allah, either male or a female. Any confusion, medical intervention can take place based on evidence and dominant gender, and one gender will be determined and the other will be made redundant. End of discussion for Muslims. The world can discuss and debate. I'm quite happy to listen to it and respectfully listen to it, no problem. But Quranic notion of this will not change. It's a difficult one, but I say it respectfully to people. And I've said exactly the same thing on LBC's live radio interview. I didn't have anybody calling me LGBT phobe. Nobody did. Because they understood that I said it respectfully and clearly. And I hope you don't find in what I'm saying disrespect or ambiguity. All right. The sister's hand did go up. So go on, sister. I'm going to, I said she could, if it's up to you.
Yeah. Okay, so all the question on the slider is already over. So maybe anyone who wants to ask question can raise your hands up. Okay, we have two questions in here. Okay, maybe if
Sister
you can ask first, sister first.
Salam.
Mom, I would like to ask whether there is a medium here maybe in the UK, because we know that we are a minority in the UK, right? And a lot of Muslim young people find it difficult to find like-minded friends of their age. And I think it's what I see. It's either Muslims who go to masjid very diligently, or Muslims who got so westernized, absorbed in Western culture too much. I'm thinking of somewhere in between, because I would imagine like my own children, they are, thankfully, I feel grateful, they are still within the corridors of Muslims. They are still in the corridors of Eastern culture, but they are not quite the kind who would, go to masjid every week or something like that. But I still have hopes that they would find someone they could get married to that are like-minded. At least they have got the same faith, even if they are still imperfect in the way that they perform their ibadah. So that's my question. It's a practical question.
Okay, thank you. It's a practical question of creating a space. Well, that is lacking within the Muslim community. We don't have enough social space. That's true. We either have a religious space or no space. And that we need to work on. Unfortunately, we have not done it enough. Even our mosques are not always welcoming and not always space open for everybody of all religiosity and no religiosity for that matter. We sometimes shun people who don't practice Islam from coming to the mosque. So we have to do something about it. Unfortunately, it's a failure. Muslim community's collective failure. We don't have enough social space where our kids can come and feel at home. So I agree. There is nothing that I can do right now myself except raise awareness that you guys have started a center. Please don't forget to create a social space, not only for religious people to come, but also people who are not religious. Let them come. When we started our mosque in Southgate recently, we held an event for our local community, especially the Turkish communities. And the Turkish community who live in the area in large number, they don't go to any mosques because mosques have this religious space. But when we opened it up to everybody, a lot of people came with scarf, without scarf, short skirt, long skirt, shirts, trousers, all sorts. I said to everybody, no judgment on anyone. Anybody's welcome. And people came and they were so happy that they were allowed to come to a mosque and not judged. Some of them started coming afterwards regularly. So my recommendation to you is don't create an exclusive space. Try and work on creating an inclusive space in the future. There was that brother's hand over there that went up.
Yeah, but actually, can you make it fast because the time is over? I'm really sorry because.
What is that? Adhan? We're done, right?
Yeah.
What time is it? What time do you pray?
I think we'll play after this.
Okay.
We have 5 more minutes before.
Oh, okay. Okay, we still have time before Adhan. So I'm so sorry that we have to end this first session. If you have any further question related to anything that we talk about safe space, partnership, difference between men and women, and also about the purpose of marriage itself, Imam Ajmal Masroor will stay here for the next 30 minutes, but after that he will run to the airport.
Yes, unfortunately.
Yes, and
You have to
also
buy the books within the half
yes. And also, if you are curious about steps of getting married and to stay married, you can have the book over there. Yes. So thank you so much for coming. We're going to have a break for the next session for 60 minutes.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
wabarakatuh.